Welcome back to the VET S.O.S podcast. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline. VET S.O.S is brought to you by the Who You Know Network, and we are now very excited to be part of the Heroes Media Group family. What an awesome lineup at HMG. We've had a couple of their podcasters on our show already. We got a couple more coming on. Man, just fantastic organization. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. A lot of great information going on over there. Today, we're sitting down with James Collin, founder of Heroes in the Sky. This is an incredible organization that's bringing much needed comfort and support to our company. No, not our company, to our community. That's probably the better word. You don't want to miss this one, though. This is going to be a good one. I'm telling you, you're really going to like this. But fresh off our tandem jump together, how are you doing today, Keith?
You know, I'm no small dude, but you're such a mammoth of a man. The fact that I still have to be small spoon, it just irks me. But yeah. Hey, you want to come up with these catchy little intro lines for me?
Oh, I got a plan for next month to take it to the next level too. So,
oh boy. But I'm good otherwise. So.
Oh, you haven't seen the VFW interview yet. Wait till you see that one.
Oh,
They got my big, gigantic person in this tiny little chair. It looks ridiculous.
Like yeah. Chair.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me look that much bigger, and this is crazy. All right, so let's jump into this here. We got James. He's a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom with a combined 27 months in country. As an M2 gunner, James was responsible for the detainee holding operations in Baghdad. Remember those quite vividly. James is the founder of Heroes in the Sky, an organization that was born out of his personal struggles with the suicide epidemic. After separating from military service in 2013, he faced near-death experience, having made and nearly carried out suicidal plans on 2 separate occasions. His journey continues as he fights his own internal battles while honoring the service, sacrifice, and valor of fallen warriors through memorial ceremonies. James is married to Jessica Collins and is a proud father of 4 beautiful children. How you doing today, James?
I'm doing well.
Man, doing very well. So excited to have you on here, man. When you and I first talked, I was really moved by your organization and what you're doing. So can't wait to share this with everybody. It's really, I think, a fascinating sort of twist on trying to help and bring comfort and everything. I love what you're doing. So, but before we do that, let's jump into your transition story, man. Tell us how your transition out of the military went. You kind of gave us some glimpses there, I think, in the bio. So right. Let's break it down a little bit.
Yeah, it was my transition. I think was like most of our veterans. It's filled with really unknowns, filled with losing that direct line of purpose that the military gives us. Tell you where to be, how to be, what uniform to be. Basically, the military makes it very easy for you to succeed. You do what you're told, and you follow instructions well, you're gonna be okay. Well, when you get out, there's not a cheat sheet. There's not a oh, hey, you be here at this time, you're here and here, you do this, you're going to be fine. There's so many other factors you have to deal with. You get out and you're dealing with a civilian job market that most of the time, some may be more qualified than you, and you may have served in that role, that function in the military, but there's someone out there that probably did it longer or, just well more qualified. And so you lose that purpose. Every morning I woke up in the military, I knew that I was putting that uniform on. I knew where I was going to go. I knew what I was going to do. And, and then, so all of that changes when now they hand you that DD 214 and they expect you just to, oh, thank you for serving, here's the door. And, and they don't give you anything other than some of the programs. The only programs they offered me was how to write a resume. And the other one was they brought in some employers once or twice a month, but they never really gave you the tools, early enough to use them. If we would start using these, we need more resources while soldiers are about to get out. Don't wait till they're handed that that's that when you know they're getting, don't wait till they give them the DD-214 or, oh, hey, you're out processing, let's get you some help. Like if you know they're not 6 to 8 months out, a year out, if you know that they're not staying in and they're ETS or they're retiring, you start giving them some resources then. Like give them somewhere to go where, oh, hey, go talk to them. They'll, they know a lot of, professional relationships where you can get better jobs. Or, hey, here's some mental health resources if you ever find yourself, struggling with your mental health. Here, go talk to these people. So my transition was rough like everybody else's because I didn't have those. It wasn't outlined for me of how to be successful in the civilian life.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. There's a lot of people that, I would say this is one of those topics that everybody has a really strong opinion on as far as transition goes, and in good, bad, and different, however it goes, and what you think of different parts of it. Everybody has their opinion. So, but okay, so you went through the transition process. It wasn't, hugely beneficial for you, which I would assume led to some of your issues with the suicidal ideations and things like that.
Correct.
Okay, and so what? We don't have to get into graphic detail, but like how did you make it from the transition piece through that to now starting, Heroes in the Sky?
Well, so one of the first things that really set me off with my mental health struggles was a lack of relationships. And it was, I had just gone through a divorce, really toxic divorce. And then I did not have a relationship with my oldest two children. And I didn't know where to go. It was, because what people don't talk about is when you're in, when you're in the service and if you're not deploying or always gone, you're always at training or you're always doing something that takes your focus and intentions away from your children, from your family, from those obligations because you have to serve. And so when I first got out, I was medically retired. So they medically retired me out and said, okay, hey, due to your time in your time in combat and your, the injuries to your back and your PTSD and all these other things, hey, we're med boarding you. And so I was blessed there to get 100% when they did it. But that still didn't fix any of the other issues as far as I didn't have a relationship with my kids. Like I didn't know how to talk to my children. I didn't even know how to have a healthy relationship with an adult because every marriage I've had up to that point was a failure. It didn't work. And so, I get out, go through those divorces, and it was too much to take. The straw that really pushed me over was when my kids decided that they were going to have a relationship with me, and that's all it took. And so because of that, I made a plan to end my life. And I had the perfect plan to do it. It was I got volunteered to go on a PTSD retreat in another state. It was in Tennessee. And somebody nominated me for it because of my service. And they're like, "Oh, hey, you need to call this person because you really use this retreat." Well, that was it for me because I was like, "Okay, this is awesome." Because I was trying to figure out how to take myself out of here without my kids or someone close finding me. And then like that was it. Okay, I can go to Tennessee. And so the night I was going to do it, I was sitting on a beach in Tennessee and I had a backpack sitting next to me, and inside the backpack I had my Springfield XDM-40, which I still have. And I had my hand was inside the backpack with my finger on the trigger, literally was seconds about to pull it out. And the lady that ran the PTSD retreat saw me out there on this beach, dark 30 in the morning, and knew she needed to come talk to me. And then when I told her, when she asked if I was okay, I said, yes, I'm fine. She goes, well, you don't seem fine. Why are you out here by yourself? And she wouldn't leave me alone. And so because of that, I'm still here. And that was the groundwork for why I created Heroes in the Sky Foundation, because I wanted a platform to raise awareness for the warriors that fought those silent battles that I was feeling. Like, I mean, because I can legitimately tell you what it's like to be okay with leaving this world and being within seconds of dying, and you're okay with it, and it's a crazy feeling.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a powerful story. I mean, what do you think on that there, Keith?
I don't want to. It got me over here getting a little choked up. Dude, I felt every bit of that, man. And, you know, the fact that, you know, you turned it around. For me, you know, without getting necessarily down this particular rabbit hole, but for me, that just reinforces, to me, it's the higher power. You know, there's something out there, someone out there looking out for us. And the fact that lady came out,
Yeah.
that wasn't by accident either. You know, but that had to happen for you to get where you are today and create this organization that's helping people. And again, you know, I felt every bit of it. I'm a suicide attempt survivor, I guess you could say, because I didn't have the foolproof plan. It didn't work when I tried it. You know, but I have the scars that remind me of those dark days. And but at the same time, I'm not ashamed of those scars anymore. You know, they're a life lesson. I've used them to help other people through dark times as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just every bit of what you've experienced. It's real. So tell us kind of like, so now we're, you know, Heroes in the Sky has been birthed, I guess, out of this event. So like, what is the mission? Like, what is the organization doing?
Yeah, and so it was really Heroes in the Sky was born, and because I kind of didn't touch on the passive attempts. So I had 2 attempts, self-inflicted attempts, and then I had several other attempts where I didn't have the courage to do it myself. So I couldn't do it by my own hands, but I volunteered for every combat mission. You know, I put myself behind the 50 cal turret. You know, all these detainee holding operations where we would go into Baghdad at 3-4 o'clock in the morning on riding a 50 cal. I did all this because I just knew that I was going to come home in a box, and I was going to be revered for my service, and I wouldn't feel like I was all alone, because I would have been a war hero, and somebody would have got my folded flag, and people would remember me forever for giving my life for this country. And that never happened either, because I literally watched the Humvees in front of me blow up from IEDs, the ones behind me blow up from IEDs, you know, and I've got 3 confirmed concussions in the TBI registry because of this. They've actually done tests on my brain and confirmed those concussions. And so between the secondhand attempts for suicide and then my firsthand attempts, Heroes in the Sky was born. So what Heroes in the Sky does is we're a organization that focuses on this gray area that our society does not like to talk about. Like it's taboo, right? People don't, oh, we can't talk about this. This stigma surrounding mental health is really troublesome. And so Heroes in the Sky operates in that area. We honor our veterans, first responders, and emergency personnel that have lost their internal war. Those warriors that lost those silent battles, and then we do that through a couple ways, and so we have an awareness piece and a prevention piece. The awareness piece is honoring the warriors. So what we do is we create battle vest dedications. So I'll take a memorial battle vest that you or I or anybody that served this country would have, something similar would have wore, and then I assemble it with Velcro name tapes of 19 warriors who have lost their internal war, whether that be a firefighter, first responder, veteran, corrections, DOD, Blackwater, and we fill the vest up with 19 warriors, and then front and back and then we dedicate that vest to a business. So if you walk into a business, you see the vest, you ask the question, hey, why is there a vest with names on it right there? And then there's a plaque below it that tells you who Heroes in the Sky, what we are, and why those names are on the vest. And then we serialize the vest. So we can tell families, okay, your warrior, specialist X is on Battle Vest 2203, and this is where Battle Vest 2203 is dedicated. And we send them pictures of it. And so that's one way. And the second thing we do is memorial board ceremonies that honor up to 60 warriors. So they'll hold 60 plus name tapes, and then we allow the families to take part in their ceremonies as well. So that's our awareness piece. We have a prevention piece as well. We honor our families as well, because what we've realized is when people not only sweep talking about suicide under the rug, they completely forget about the families that have to carry the torch after they've lost a loved one to this. And so we had this grand idea, okay, well, we're going to create a series called Deterrence Through Truth. And it's going to be a YouTube series, and we're going to interview our widows and our parents and our siblings who have lost somebody to suicide, and we're going to give them a voice, an identity, and a purpose. Because if we give them a voice, identity, and a purpose, we can start reducing the suicide rates in those affected populations. For instance, who have you ever heard these terms that a mother that's lost a child to suicide is 2 times more likely to die by the same fate, and a widow that's lost a spouse to suicide is 3 times more likely to die by the same fate? These numbers are staggering, and no one's talking about it. And so Heroes in the Sky is doing something about it. We're giving them a voice, we're giving them an identity, and so if we can give them a purpose to continue talking about their warrior, we can reduce the suicide rates in their populations as well. And the second thing the video series Deterrence Through Truth does is deterrence. Because think about that. You're sitting in a closet having a bad day, about to end it, and you're just scrolling through your phone, and you scroll across one of these YouTube videos of a widow that's lost everything because her husband committed suicide. And you have a wife and kids that you're going to leave behind, and you see what their life is like afterwards. I don't know about you, but I might think twice about doing that. So the way I look at it is, if that's the only reason you're clinging here and you don't do it, we've achieved our purpose. You're still here. And then the last thing we do is statistics. We push nationwide statistics all across the United States. Some of the statistics like about the mothers and the children with their suicide rates, and our suicide rates with our law enforcement officers, how we're losing law enforcement officers every 17 hours to suicide. How our firefighters have a 72% higher chance of dying by suicide than the general population. Veterans are 57.3, law enforcement's 54, EMS is 24%. The stuff like we're losing 100 firefighters a year to suicide. So all these vital statistics that we can really create education for people, we're traveling across the country talking about those, so we can create a movement to actually do something about this.
Man, I love that. The thing is, you say that we're not talking about it, and I would say as a country, we really don't talk about it as much as we should. I think our community, we talk about it a lot more than the average communities, I would think. But man, I love each aspect of that, because and I'm sure you're also looking at potential partnerships and things like that, because there's a couple organizations that are trying to help in this world. And I love the storytelling piece of it. It's one of the reasons why we're working towards creating this online recording platform for transitioning service members and spouses to tell their story, because we want to capture the stories like that, the struggles you went through, how you worked through it. Maybe you're still working through it, showing people that they're not alone,
Correct.
and that we're all here together, and we all want to help each other. And man, I love the work you're doing, man. It's good stuff.
I really appreciate that. It's taken a lot of unsuccessful attempts and really to show me how grateful I am for what I have. That I actually, a lot of people don't have that view. I call it the bird's eye view of what it's like in your final moments of your life, that you're about to leave this earth. And so you really don't know what that looks like unless you've made the attempt or you've made the plan and you're within minutes of carrying it out. And so, because I have that, I have a different relationship with widows, because I'll have widows ask me, I don't know what my husband was thinking when he did this. And I can say, well, let me answer that for you, because I can tell you what was going through his mind. I can tell you our thoughts may have been a little different. Our stressors were different, but I can tell you the level of despair that he felt. And they really connect with me because of that, because I'm not just someone up here blowing smoke. I legitimately understand the pain,
Yeah. That's pretty powerful, Keith.
Yeah. And I would, you already got me choked up once, so I'm going to give you a chance to do it again. What, if you could relay one story, one experience that you've had in this journey that you want our listeners to hear, that either they are struggling or they know someone else is struggling, but an event that just kind of encapsulates this whole thing that shows the success at the end for your organization.
I've got several, but I've got a favorite one that I really ping to every time. I work as I'm not a mental health professional, but I'm an account executive. And so I run a nonprofit business called Islands Counseling Services. I do all the books. And I've ran nonprofit finance for the last 6 years. So we were at it was like an event at a college. It was a free educational event, and we had a speaker come in talking about the conditions of our healthcare, what our community programs look like. And then they divided us off into these breakout rooms, and they put me in the suicide room. And clearly that's where I operate. And then they were asking all these questions. They were like, okay, so, what are we, as a community, what are we doing right affecting the suicide rate in veterans of this? And then they came with the question, what are we not doing? Where are we failing? And then of course, that's where, I'm going to speak, because that's where my passion's at, because there's some things we're not doing right. And so I went through some of what I do, why I do it, my personal stories of struggle and self-destruction. At the end of it, I had a lady walk up to me, and I'm not going to, due to, PMI, but she handed me a business card. And on the back of it, the business card said, "Thank you for telling your story. Um, my daughter is a lawyer and has been struggling really hard lately with suicidal thoughts. And after her, listening to you go through what you do and some of the struggles, she doesn't feel so alone anymore."
Mm-hmm.
And that hit home, because that young lady came up to me in that room in front of everybody, had the courage to come talk to me. And it made an impact. Like even on the days I feel like this is hard to do. Like, because I will tell you, one of the hardest things you'll ever, I've been in a combat zone, I've faced death, I've seen it all. But one of the hardest things you'll have to do is emotionally handling yourself when you're standing in front of a mother that's lost a child to suicide, or you're standing in front of a spouse that's lost another spouse to suicide, and you see the pain in their eyes, and you know that you'll never feel that exact pain what they're feeling, but you understand them enough to know that you can give them honor and integrity surrounding their warrior's legacy. And so those are some of the hardest moments I've ever had to do, is stand in front of those families. But it makes it all worth it when I have young ladies come up like that to me, and then the mom come up to me after and say, I can't thank you enough because my daughter's really been struggling lately. And so that was the gotcha moment for me. Like, even when I know it's hard to do this, I'm like, it's touching people's lives.
Yeah. Go ahead, Shawn.
I was like, man, well, why don't we have the bomb icon again?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Man,
It's
stuff. Like, I'm in, like, what is it? Reverence? Is that the right word? I don't know. But unfortunately, we're coming up on time, which breaks my heart because I want to hear more stories. But before we go, I have 2 questions for you. One, if you could have any spokesperson you would want for your organization, famous person, whatever, who would it be and why? And 2, for our listeners out there, how can they get in touch with you? How can they reach out for assistance, and how can they get involved in the program?
I've never been asked the question about like a spokesperson. I like what Gary Sinise is doing with the families. That is a goal of mine to always, I want to meet him and kind of maybe align and collab, do some stuff with him. And then, just because I like what he's doing, he puts his efforts on the families, taking all those families on those trips that have lost warriors. And so that's, in my eyes, that's what we do as well. We focus on the family. So I really like that part. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can go to heroesinthesky.org. It's got everything about us. If you want to go on there and you want to donate to the cause, you can donate to the cause. You can read who we are. You can read our bios of who's on the team. You can see videos of our battle vests we've dedicated. See exactly what they look like. And it's heroesinthesky.org, or you can reach me at james@heroesinthesky.org.
Well,
Awesome.
I'll tell you what, I've reached out to the Gary Sinise Foundation because that's one of my bucket list items too, is to have him on here. So I hope they're listening. You got 2 people now trying to track you down.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, James, thank you so much for coming on to the show. This was a very powerful episode. I hope, I know some of our listeners are definitely going to be affected by it. I know I was, but just getting that message out there, so for all of our listeners, if you're struggling, someone who's struggling, James has been there. I've been there. Shawn tries to act all tough, but he's probably been there too. Like, we've been there, man. Reach out. You're not alone. Please, please, please reach out. Whenever you think there is nobody, we'll prove you wrong. I promise. So, but on behalf of the VET S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. VET S.O.S is growing and expanding. You can follow us on all the social media platforms. Make sure to check out all 4 of our shows and follow and subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts from. We're on YouTube, Reach Across America Radio, now Heroes Media Group, Family, and all your other favorite podcast platforms. And as always, folks, remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline.